Hey guys, and welcome back to Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. We're going to be starting Act 2 today with the amazing Sandman. He's not going to get his own game. That's probably why he's so angry all the time.
Well, I mean, he couldn't even get his own movie. He had to jump in and share the screen time with Venom.
Brilliant, thank you. I couldn't have started a part better than that.
Oh dear, Spider-Man 3.
How do we feel about Spider-Man 3? Lewis, what's your opinion on it?
It could have been good.
Oh lord, did it ever.
There was too much going on, and it didn't develop most of it very well.
Too many cooks kind of situation we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say, yeah, too many kind of behind-the-scenes forces, I think, were at play, because I think the studio very much wanted, like, all the villains in, whereas I think Sam Raimi really only wanted Sandman.
I don't think he likes Venom at all, honestly, but we're not here to talk about the Sam Raimi films. We're here to talk about Shatty Dims. And a little bit of trivia for Sandman. He is voiced in this game by, oh god, a really hard to pronounce name, Dmitry Dyachenko, who was Lyowski from Criminal Minds. I have no idea who that is.
Don't look at me.
Don't worry, I wasn't going to, right?
Sandman, what can I say about Sandman? Interesting villain, interesting power.
Yeah?
Not especially interesting character.
He wouldn't be in, like, my top 5 of Spider-Man's, rogues gallery, but he's cool. I like Flint Marko. He's pretty fun and spectacular Spider-Man.
Well, like, even in Spider-Man 3, he's not the same character. Well, I suppose his name is the same, but I'm pretty sure in the comics he never had anything to do with Uncle Ben dying.
Ugh. Yeah. What about you, THD? Any experience with the Man of Sound himself?
Well, the first thing I did want to point out, as we saw back there, is that you were actually wearing a different costume. The amazing Bagman, if I recall correctly.
Oh, I got trivia for that as well. And just so I don't completely shit the bed and say the wrong thing, I took this directly from the Shatty Dims costume profile section. To quote Shatty Dims itself, after ridding himself of the alien symbiote black suit in Reed Richards' laboratory, that's Mr. Fantastic, Peter Parker needed something to wear on his way back home. Thoughtfully, Johnny Storm provided Peter with an old Fantastic Four uniform, and Spider chose to don a paper bag to conceal his identity for the time being. Also thoughtfully, though in a completely different way, Johnny added a secret decoration to the costume's back, which is a kick-me sign.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I say Johnny's a cock, but I seem to recall him being pretty okay in Ultimate Spider-Man. Well, at least in the comics. The game, his races, oh, they give me just a migraine, really, at times. Weirdly, this version of the Bagman costume is called the Bombastic Bagman in this game, but at the time I think it was called, like, the Amazing Bagman, or just plain Bagman, or whatever. I've been looking this up all afternoon, and sources differ depending on what site I go to. But Peter would later wear the paper bag again, and he was shirtless for whatever reason that time. Then he called himself the Bombastic Bagman. The costume we see here in Shatty Dims turns up in other video games too, so I guess they just wanted to simplify things a tad. And according to info found in the costumes profile section of Shatty Dims, the Bagman costume originated in issue 258 of The Amazing Spider-Man in 1984. Oh my god, that's a lot of trivia. I apologise for talking so much.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that Sandman was going to feature in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, but at the time his movie rights were tied up, presumably the thing that we were having before the dreaded Spider-Man 3. So instead they used Hydro Man, voiced by Rob Paulsen, in the creepiest serial killer, possibly molester vibe he could manage, being Rob Paulsen. So it was an interesting choice.
Yeah, real kind of change of pace for Rob. He usually plays like the nice guy or the nerdy guy, or a combination of the two,
Huh. Sandman wasn't in the 90s cartoon?
He was not, no.
Interesting. Sometimes I associate him with the 90s cartoon, but I might be thinking of Shocker.
Now, these enemies here, they rank among some of the more annoying ones in the game, because you can't just hit them normally, oh no. Much like Sandman himself, you gotta, like, water them down first, you gotta dilute them, so they're more easy to punch.
They turn into delicious chocolate when you do.
It wouldn't be dilute, it'd be solidify, really, because, yeah.
All right.
Science.
Okay. Yeah. Well, just okay. Yeah. I'm not very good at science. Thank you for pointing it out. It's not just English you gotta clown me in. It's other topics as well, I guess.
Sorry.
To be honest, I'm not really sure why water stops Sandman somehow from controlling the sand. But,
Well, his name's not Mudman, is it?
No, like Richie said, it solidifies the sand, so he can't, move it as well as he'd like to, so he just becomes all stiff and kind of immobile.
Well, yeah, because the whole thing would be that when sand gets wet, it kind of gets all squelchy, and you don't have all the particles anymore. Because from what I can gather from all the stuff that I've seen with Sandman, he makes use of the particles, and that's how he creates all of this. When those particles are stuck together, you can't kind of move them about as freely. So that's, I think, where they're going with it.
Man, we get really in-depth with topics here on the Shatty Dims playthrough.
science!
I wasn't really the biggest fan of web zipping along things thrown by the tornado. It's okay in the earlier sections of the level, but come section 2 or 3, you actually have to wait for a little bit for objects to even appear, and that fucked me up more than once because I was not very patient.
Yeah, I'm not that big a fan of web zipping, and I wasn't a terribly big fan of the equivalent in the Amazing Spider-Man game either. Although in that game, you did have somewhat more freedom as to how you did it, because you had this sort of Fallout-esque third-person shooter reticule thing going on, and wherever you aimed it was where you would web zip to. And if you were aiming at a context-sensitive place, it would show an outline of Spider-Man in a specific spot. But other than that, you had total freedom as to where you went and when. You could even, web zip, and then slow down time in the middle of your web zip, change direction, and web zip in another direction.
Okay. Peter, don't do it. Don't you do it. I told you not to do it.
Now, why would you throw him to the ground instead of doing the obvious thing and crushing his bones?
Or just literally, smush him into the ground.
Yeah, he is the ground. Look at him.
I am the entire mind, Spider-Man!
Sandman, you have the amazing, unbeatable superpower of burying anything you touch alive. Why don't you ever use it?
Well, I think it's like what Helldragon said with Electro or Shocker. Writing. It just comes down to the writing in the end.
Yeah, pretty much. Which is a shame, of course.
Well, if you're gonna make a superpower, you gotta know beforehand exactly what you need to write, and if you gotta write around things to make it work as a story, maybe you should consider different superpowers, is what I'm saying.
I kind of like the texture effect on giant Sandman here, when he gets all goopy. I don't know, it looks nice and shiny.
Yeah, it does look considerably more impressive than the Mooks.
Weird thing about the Mooks, in certain chambers we'll see throughout the level, doors will be blocked by sand, and then after you attack and solidify some of the enemies, they'll just randomly open. I never really got how that kind of worked, but I think it's just the fact that since you're solidifying more and more of his mooks, which are basically part of him, his mind kind of starts to wear down a little bit, and so the sand that was covering the door just kind of dissipates.
Could be.
Might be reading a little bit too much into it.
It sounds like a reasonable explanation, so let's go with that, because I'm sure it's the best we're going to guess.
Indeed, 2099. If anyone knew about science, it would be you. Yeah, just for those of you who haven't caught up with the Shatty Dims playthrough so far, the dynamic for the Spider-Man, archetypes is Helldragon is Amazing Spider-Man, Lewis is Noir, I'm Ultimate, and Richie is 2099. Although these could change by the time we're done, you know how fickle I am.
Time to cave in Sandman's shiny skull. This is only the midway point, judging by the timer.
Yeah. I wish they actually kind of pointed that out in-game. Wait a minute, the level's not over yet. Although that sounds more like a Deadpool thing than a friggin' Spider-Man kind of thing.
Or the Spider-Ham.
I'm pretty sure, didn't Deadpool in the Deadpool game say something to that effect during one of the levels?
Probably.
The Deadpool video game. Have any of you actually played that, like, besides me?
I didn't play it, but I watched you play it.
Ah, okay.
I played the first handful of hours of it, and it was interesting, but also very watered down Ninja Gaiden.
Watered down. I get it.
I didn't intend that, actually. But
That's the response that pun deserved. Don't worry about it.
my favorite parts of the game were the parts that served absolutely no gameplay purpose whatsoever, like slapping an unconscious Wolverine,
Yeah.
or that brief foray into a
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda segue. That made me laugh.
We really should have saved this for the actual Deadpool level. That's a ultimate shtick in Act 2 of the game. This part of the Sandman level, though, is probably my least favourite part, because you could usually, like, skip the sections in the beginning, but here you have to defeat the enemies before he'll, like, throw out objects for you to web zip to and, you know, get to the next platform. And it's just really kind of boring, because it doesn't really feel like I'm doing much damage, even with bigger combos.
Yeah, unfortunate side effect of the Sandman thing. I mean, have you tried punching sand?
Well,
It doesn't do a whole lot.
I feel like I say this in every playthrough, but once, but it didn't end up very well.
Well, there's a sand tornado in the middle of the construction yard. Sand monsters are trying to dogpile us. At least there's still time to pick up collectible Spider-Man tokens.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I have to say, the thing with this particular area, it seems like a whole lot of it is just padding.
Yep.
It's just like, well, let's give them enemies that they have to spend a while beating up, because first of all, you've got to get them wet, then you've got to beat them up.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got that kind of padding, but then you've got to beat all of the enemies up to be able to progress to the next platform, and they're going to keep doing that to you, and it's just like, guys, there are more interesting ways of doing gameplay.
Speaking of interesting, I got a little bit of trivia here. It does relate to Sandman, but it is kind of gruesome. So, gruesome trivia alert, I guess. I hope you guys are ready for this. In the Marvel Zombies continuity, which I believe is Earth 2149, Zombie Spider-Man makes his way to Earth 91126 and discovers/eats most of the Sinister Six. The Sandman of that world flees for his life, only to come across the actual Spider-Man of Earth 91126. Fearing that he would be eaten too, Sandman flies into a rage and forcibly pours himself down Peter's throat, causing the Spider-Man's stomach to explode, taking off his jaw and killing him in the process.
That's awesome. I'm really glad you brought that up, so
Oh, yeah.
now I can be completely distracted. Thanks.
Ironically, though, the zombie Spider-Man of Earth 2149 would use Sandman 91126's body to help destroy all of the zombies of Earth 91126, except for the Sentry of that world, who was sent back in time to the past of Earth 2149, where I think he starts the whole zombie apocalypse thing. It's really dumb. It involves nanomachines, son. I'll leave it at that.
I think my mind's just exploded from multiverse theory.
That is the kind of, just awesome and completely dark use of a superpower that ranks up there with, like, Zahir in the Avatar series. Sucking the air out of people's lungs with his airbending.
I can't believe they got away with that. I was fucking shocked when that episode aired.
Well, at that point, wasn't Legend of Korra online by that point?
Yeah, good point. Also, there was a murder-suicide with a couple of characters who I won't name for spoiler reasons.
It's just, I urge caution to creators using superpowers in that way, because it's really easy to cross into unnecessarily edgy territory instead of just being interesting. But that kind of use of superpowers, it's really interesting to think about the kinds of fucked up shit you can do.
Well, Zombie Spider-Man, I believe, when he got to that particular Sandman's world, either his webbing didn't work or it was just kind of shut off, and he had to use his veins and arteries to swing around on.
Yee.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like trying to be Venom, only with actual anatomy.
Yeah.
You know what? That would be more suitable to the name Carnage than the actual Carnage is.
I think somebody probably watched one of the Freddy Krueger films. Because I'm pretty sure that there is a kill in one of those where Freddy Krueger, in one of the people's dreams, turns a guy into a puppet using like his veins and arteries and stuff. And kind of walks into the end of a building and drops him off a building.
Oh, shut up, you puss. You're meant to be the amazing Spider-Man. You face worse.
I don't have to put up with this crap.
Obligatory save the pedestrian kind of sequences.
Also, I have to say, I like how this guy was just like, I'm being attacked by sand creatures, and Spider-Man's just like, yeah, been there, done that, just let's get on with it.
Just another day in the life of the amazing Bagman.
Wait, I know how this works. You're gonna stand there waving your arms. They're not going to attack you until I get there. And, okay, so basically you're in no danger at all. If I just walked out the room, nothing would happen.
Yeah, maybe I can even despawn you to where I need you to be.
Oh, man. That's talking about stuff that is more Deadpool shtick.
I'm here, I need help.
Was there ever a scene like that in Deadpool?
Sorry, what, Lewis?
Was there ever a scene like that in the Deadpool game?
I honestly don't know, but also we need to kind of save some like stuff to talk about in the Deadpool level, so maybe I'll have found out by then.
Well, unfortunately, the Deadpool level, if I remember, doesn't actually have any hostages, does it?
Oh, son of a bitch.
Well, either way, considering how kind of cool and interesting Deadpool is as a character, I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about by the time we get to there. It's just that Sandman's quite boring, really, when you think about it.
And here we are, with Eggman's Drill-O-Matic.
When that life bar popped up, I thought you had to fight the drill machine for a minute there to go with the Eggman stuff, and I guess not.
No, just these reskinned brutes, and I think there's only 2 of these guys, so just focus on one and then like go around and take out the other. I've had instances where one of the brutes just kind of like freezes, and I couldn't even attack him for a little bit, and then he just kind of unfroze awkwardly. And I defeated him and moved on, the end.
Weird bug.
Shy Dims. It's kind of filled with weird bugs, sad to say. It is a licensed game.
Yeah, probably had to be out by a deadline and they didn't have enough time to iron everything out. Oh well.
Good old Activision.
That is basically Activision in a nutshell.
Spider-Man Devastation.
Just back up, mate. You could probably take this guy out for me. It's cool, I got spider sense, I can get out of the way.
Unfortunately, these kind of construction vehicles tend to back up very, very slowly. Like they're totally incapable of a sudden change of direction. That and they automatically start beeping when you try.
Oh, I wouldn't even need spider sense, then I could just wait for the beep.
Oh, do you think the sand creatures have ears? How does Sandman hear anything, by the way?
Well, I know he doesn't really have to eat. I think he may need water, or maybe I'm thinking of a particular character who was forcibly changed in Xenoblade Chronicles. I don't know.
The Mummy!
Yeah, it is the fucking Mummy. This is a sequence from the Mummy 2.
Time for the actual boss fight then.
Wow, this level's really short.
Oh, yeah, really short. We're sitting at the end of a 22-minute video. Really short. Oh, man.
This is short for us, Lewis.
Standards for level length in video games have just changed so much. Like, if a level had gone on for 20 minutes back in the day, everyone would have been complaining about it. Now it's really short.
Oh, you know, it depends on whether the level's fun or not, and I wouldn't really rank the Sandman level as one of the most enjoyable ones in Act 2, but I wouldn't say it's the worst either.
Yeah, it's got some pretty neat things. Although, if Sandman is made of sand, I brought this up a few minutes ago, like, how does he hear anything? Because, as far as I know, sand is one of the worst sound conductors out there. Like, I don't think you can hear much through sand. So, my brain hurts.
Leave a comment and tell us, how does sand hear? We will promise to read it out maybe in a future playthrough. It'll be too late by the time Shy Dims goes up. So yeah, the Sandman boss fight. You gotta bop around this little whirlwind arena here, grab water barrels, chuck them at the faces, punch the faces. I think Juggernaut's helmet can be found in the tornado somewhere, and if you manage to like land on it or grab it or whatever, that's a challenge, so good luck finding it.
The Sandman's faces here look just so hilarious when you toss mud into him. It's like he got smacked in the jaw 16 times with a baseball bat. And somehow it turned him incredibly brown.
Yeah, it's so saggy. So THD, how did it feel having to wear a bag on your head, doing like superhero antics and the like?
Well, it was very demeaning, as you know. I mean, it smelled constantly like used ham, so sometimes you just have to make do with whatever bags you have available. The worst part is when they asked me if I wanted plastic instead, and I just knew that couldn't cover out my face enough.
Yeah, also it might suffocate you.
Oh, man. You know, why doesn't Sandman just close this whole tornado and end it?
Lewis. He's spread himself far too thin at this point. He's not thinking clearly. There's 3 other guys. He's literally a triple sand god. But no.
Talk about talking heads.
Thank you, Helldragon. another amazing Spider-Man classic right there.
I don't even know if you know what I was referencing.
I might do, but I don't want to bring it up here.
Alright.
Well, I mean, also, Sandman is a bit of an idiot when you think about it.
Yeah, he's a bit of a dumbass, honestly. Like, I think there's Shocker, who is stupid sometimes, but, you know, he's got wits to back him up. Sandman's just a bit of a ditz.
Sandman is the classic case of someone just... some random asshole getting superpowers. So, yeah. Well, I'm sure in the comics he's got his backstory and all that, but as far as, you know, people with superpowers go, he's one of the more random ones. He's not like super... He doesn't have like some super complex, hyper involved motivation for doing what he does. He's more like the Jubilee of supervillains.
Jubilee, pew pew, I'm gonna shoot fireworks at him. Good stuff.
I actually like Jubilee, but... I'm not going to pretend she's especially good as an X-Man.
Oh, she's turning up in Apocalypse, isn't she?
Is she still a vampire? I think she's still a vampire.
I'm honestly not sure. That may have been retconned by this point in time.
That was the stupidest thing ever.
Well, what else can you do with someone whose only power is to light up the night?
Give her more interesting ways to do it. Don't give her superpowers that have nothing to do with her name.
And Sandman dissolves, thanking God for the fact that he doesn't have to hear us discussing anything but him anymore. So yeah, that was the Sandman level. It has some annoying forced combat sections. Not really the best. There's another level later which I would say is the worst part of Act 2, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Oh look, bronze, silver, gold. Nice. It all goes in order. And speaking of going in order, we'll see you guys next time for another part of Spider-Man Shitty Dims. Bye for now.